So the basis for the third marriage trap starts when your average 13-year-old arrives at high school wanting to make a name for himself, wanting to earn respect and to find a place for himself in this whole new environment that he finds himself in. And what he's likely to do is, as he gets there and looks around the other boys, the other young men who are in that high school, he's likely to make a number of observations. The first observation he's likely to make is that the person who's dating the prettiest girl in school is likely to be respected, is to occupy a pretty high place on the ladder or the hierarchy within that school. The second observation he's likely to make is the guy who rocks up at school in a Maserati or a BMW is likely to be respected and again is likely to have status on this ladder. The third observation he's likely to make is that the guy who can bench press 150 kilos, is powerful, is strong, is muscular, is also likely to be high on the totem pole. And so what he's learned there is that the holy trinity of ladder promotion is sex, money and power. And that basis is already being formed at that very young age. What he's also likely to notice is that the kid who's getting his head shoved down the toilet at lunchtime is likely to be the one who's emotional, who's weak, who's unattractive, and someone who opens himself up to humiliation or is unable to fend off attack or is expresses themselves more emotionally or in a way that could be perceived to be feminine. So it becomes clear that being at the top of the ladder is a really good place to be, being at the bottom of the ladder is a really horrible place to be, and it's a place that you really want to avoid at all cost. And so through this experience, even as a young boy, he learns that in order to survive in his environment, that what he needs to do is he needs to develop a mask. He needs to protect himself from showing emotion, and in particular, he needs to prevent himself from showing fear or sadness. That those two are keys to being demoted on the ladder, and he needs to avoid situations in which he could experience humiliation. Because again, those are setups, and they take him closer down to the bottom of the ladder and getting his head shoved down the toilet. And it's not great being lower on the ladder, but it's really terrible to be right at the bottom of the ladder. And so he's likely to learn that you can't trust other people around you because they can use information that they hear against you in their quest to go up the ladder. And so he's going to learn how to live in a pretty isolated way a lot of the time. A 13-year-old girl arriving at high school will have quite a different experience. What she's likely to be on her mind is that she wants to fit in, she wants to be social, she wants to be connected. And so she's more likely to view high school a bit more like this circle or this lifeboat, and everyone wants to get into the circle, want to be part of the group. And so it's really essential that you fit in with people around you and that you build connections and that you resolve issues. And one of the ways that you do that is that you talk with each other, that you share your feelings, that you create bonds and connection, and you work pretty hard at that. If you really want to upset a 13-year-old girl, take away her phone. I have personal experience that vouches for that. And so this by maintaining these relationships, women assure themselves of a place in the circle, and generally the people at the centre of the circle are the people with the best connection, who are able to facilitate and connect different people, and so they become power brokers within that thing as a result of their relational knowledge and their ability to connect and act as a hub to bring other people together. And so women learn at a very young age, it's really happening before high school, that to take care of the interests of others, to take care of the feelings of others, and that by doing that you assure yourself of a place in the community, and it brings you closer together. Now, there's a couple of other ways that you can shift closer to the circle. For instance, if one of the girls gets cancer, or she's really sick, or some has some catastrophe or disaster, then the tendency will be for the other girls to gather around her because they want to be seen as loving and caring. And so when you experience pain or loss or sadness, the experience will tend to be that you'll go to the middle of the circle. And the flip side of that is that if you for instance, do something that's really terrible. So if you were to sleep with the boyfriend of the girl who's got cancer, the next day you arrive at school, the other girls would be wanting to push you out of the circle, and the way that they would be most likely to do that, so the most powerful sanction that they would likely apply to you would be to stop talking to you. That they would just pretend that you didn't exist, and so you would be outside of the circle. And again, these rules are mostly unwritten, but they are pretty clear across, broadly speaking, Western culture and other cultures as well. So we have these two different assumptions that are running similarly side by side all along the way. And so then what happens at some point in time is that boy meets girl. Generally it goes more like girl meets boy. So a girl sees a boy that she's interested in, part of the circle. Girls are talking about boys a long time before boys are really aware of girls. And so they send about 150 signals, to this boy that she's interested. And around about 138, the guy notices, thinks it's his idea, so he moves over to be in connection, to shift himself closer to this girl. And at that point in time, his brain freezes, because he's really excited, but he's also facing this risk of humiliation if she rejects him. And so his brain freezes and he can't talk, so he's down there going, And the woman is having a slightly similar experience. She's really excited because there's this opportunity to create this really special connection, this circle with just the two of them. And so she's very excited and her brain gets overexcited, and so then she can't stop talking. And so what she's likely to do is to start off with by doing appreciation and bonding techniques that she will use within the circle. So she might say something like, wow, you're so amazing, I just loved how you played the rugby or the football, and you were so brave, and she's laying out all these appreciations and these bonding kind of things. Very normal behavior within the circle. Internally she's probably yelling at herself to shut up, stop talking, but from the guy's point of view, he's actually having a very novel experience for him, in that I don't know how many of you have seen a bunch of guys standing around saying, wow, Bob, that lawn you mowed, that was just amazing, just totally pristine and great, and you get the edges done so well, and that shirt, I really love how it looks on you. It really shows off your chest. I think the woman must think that looks fantastic. It's not normal behavior that you would see even adult men engaging in, let alone high schoolers. And so for the guy, he's receiving all of this appreciation, and it feels really good. One of the few times that guys will actually experience appreciation is when they are doing something like they're scoring the winning try, and guys will literally break bones in order to try and get that applause and that success. But it's pretty thin pickings for most guys. So this woman's saying all these wonderful things about them. This feels really nice, and so he wants to hang around her. It feels really good for him to be in a space with her where she's saying all these wonderful things about him. And so he's hanging out with her, and so the woman, the girl feels really connected, and this feels really nice. And so suddenly it feels like she's in this special circle that she's not going to get kicked out of, and it just feels really easy. And even within her broader circle, all of the other girls are interested, because romance is the fairy tale and the princess and the prince. That's all really exciting stuff. So she moves more to the center in her own circle, and that feels really great. The guy's shifting up the ladder. She's getting all this praise from her, and the other guys are saying, oh, you've at least got a woman who's kind of interested enough to look at you. So he's getting that status boost there. So it feels like he's at the top of the ladder, she's in the center of the circle, and this feels really fantastic. So at this point in time, they decide, as it goes through, that wow, this is fantastic, we should totally be together, and so we're going to fast forward a little bit till they're getting married, or in a committed relationship. And at that point in time, the assumption that they're both carrying is, this feels fantastic, we should get together so we can have this for the rest of our life. And at that point in time that the commitment is really made, and that in that relationship a really important shift takes place that on the guy's part.